Hello, one. Jesse Webb, Traders Pro. Market conditions deteriorating a little bit yesterday. We've moved back to mildly bullish in this bull market. Really, one of the first days we've seen in quite some time, in weeks, that we had a significant downturn. And we did see some rallying right towards the end, though, and futures are up this morning. We'll see where that leads us. Momentum had been in this towards this upper range, slipped pretty hard yesterday, as well as breadth now moving back down into that middle trending zone. We talked about that yesterday, where we're seeing this continually slide lower while the market is continually going higher, which just means there's just less and less participation going higher. This will be an interesting period right here to see if we do get any kind of which one gives, is if this one starts to move back up, if the market moves higher, or if this moves back down and catches up with some of that breadth that's already moving that direction. Still some uncertainty right here at these levels, other than the fact that we still are pretty extreme to the upside. Sentiment still looking good, and we do need a little bit of a crack there. We did see a little bit, and I'll show you that chart here in just a second. We've got buy-sell ratio, which is having a bit of a tug-of-war right here. It's at 0.58 now, and so that has also moved back to the negative side. And then sentiment, which we talked about this as a possible divergence type pattern, when you get that first extreme and then you get a second move higher. The market made a new high, but the sentiment indicator did not. So that's a diverging pattern, which is also a weakening type trend pattern. We're also seeing a few things we saw yesterday. We did see a VIXY, which is an iShare or a ProShare ETF for the VIX. And so we did see a pretty nice spike yesterday in VIX, which is an indication of institutional put buying, putting on some hedges. And so there is some indication certainly of that happening here now with this initial move higher. And also sectors, we saw another continuation of more downside. There were several that were sitting on this edge. They keep going right back and forth to hold and buy, and now they've slipped back, or hold and sell rather, but now they've slipped back down into that sell zone. Basic materials, for example, up and down right here. So potential for some support, also some potential for some continued downside on some of these that do have sell signals. So again, that tug of war that's happening in the market as a whole, where you're getting tech stocks that are continuing to lead. We did see a little bit of a break here in tech stocks. Where did that go? It's just in front of me, and technology right here. So it has dropped back down a little bit as well. It's a pretty big day yesterday, but it's sitting right at support, as I'd mentioned. Let's look at S&P 500 as well. Back down. It had this range that it could work on from here. There's a little bit right here, and then one more that's sitting right here. So it took care of a couple of zones yesterday. We'll see what kind of support it gets. That's turned into a little bit of an indecision doji candle. When you get these candles that look something like this, that's just a battle. It started here. It either went down and then up and then back down, or it went up and then down and then back up. Nonetheless, it was a pretty interesting, volatile day yesterday. It's it could be a continued support. It could also be a little bit of a crack right here in this trend. We know that has been happening in this upper range of this trend. Just something to be cautious of and aware of. If we take a look at oil, let's look at oil and gold here real quick. Oil still continuing that overall uptrend, finding some support, getting some new higher lows, and looking for some continued strength here. And then also, if we take a look at gold, which has been weakening here, has dropped down to that next tier, that 180, pushing that 183 range on GLD, which is approximately 1830 on the gold futures themselves, not exactly, but pretty close to that. So gold having a bit of a retracement. Let's look at some muscle stocks in this group. Not a whole lot, just an indication of how weak that day was yesterday. But we are seeing a couple here, some medical biotech, which had a decent day yesterday, TRML, and then also ASPN, which is a construction building stock. Also nice move on big volume. So there's a handful that are in there. There's also pretty large list inside the muscle stocks group now that have pullbacks or have retracements, and some of these really good names that have been really moving aggressively. And this is also a place to be able to look for some possible setups for some pullbacks. You're seeing a large list of Bitcoin miners that are in here, and seeing some of the others that have had real big run-ups in the medical space. Got Meta in there, got a handful of others that have been working in this overall uptrend. That'll do it for today's update. Everyone have a fantastic day today.